Hello guys, it's time blind reaction of this My Little Pony fanfic reading called The Friendship Test, My Little Pony Grimdark. This is the Lost Narrator reading, I believe. I have got permission to react to this. 52 minutes and 20 seconds. Quite a long reaction. Oh dear, what's gonna happen? Oh, the only way I'm gonna find out is actually play it. Let's get this reaction started in 3, 2, 1, go.
Warning. The following reading contains subject matter that some listeners might find disturbing. Listener discretion is advised.
Advised. All that music. Good graphics. I love the graphics. I love that. That is like classic horror. The oh wow. I'm enjoying it already actually. Gets you into the mood. This is really falling down there. Ooh.
Dead weight. That is what Twilight's limbs felt like as her mind finally stirred to consciousness. Her eyes fluttered as she tried to focus on her surroundings, allowing them to adjust to the faint light. In the cold confines of this unfamiliar place, 5 bodies stood motionless.
Oh dear.
Twilight's heart began to race. Her first instinct was to lighten the room with her magic, but her horn refused to respond.
Oh dear.
Her breath began to quicken as she looked for windows, doors,
anything
that could help her identify the location. Instead, all she could see were stone bare walls. It was at that same moment that she spotted each of her friends.
Really?
They stood frozen in a circle around the room, their eyes shut as if in a peaceful sleep. With no obvious light source, Twilight strained to make out what illuminated their bodies. When she focused hard enough, she could make out a single translucent sliver of magic that surrounded them like a ring. Her eyes darted to her own body, and she realized that she was surrounded by what seemed to be a spell. Though it was rare, this spell was unmistakable. Across the room,
that was Fluttershy.
Fluttershy began to whimper softly as she too came to consciousness.
Fluttershy?
Twilight asked, trying to maintain
That's a good acting by
Twilight, where are we? Don't move, Fluttershy. The spell holding us in place is dangerous. Whatever you do, don't leave the circle. Do you understand?
Fluttershy merely nodded.
Reminds me of if you move away from a bomb, it will explode.
Applejack asked. Twilight and Fluttershy turned to see their
There's
friend
an invisible force that surrounds you in the surrounded area.
She step after she heard Twilight's warning.
It's old magic. Something that was once used to contain dangerous things. Or dangerous ponies. Anything that leaves the limit of this circle will be met with a shock. A tip of the hoof can send a wave of electrical current through the body.
Oh, hello.
But anything more than that can be deadly.
Twilight explained, her expression grave.
Ugh, that doesn't make a lick of sense, Twi. Who in Equestria would do such a thing?
Applejack asked angrily.
Ugh, what's going on? Applejack? Is that you?
Of course it
Rarity
is.
called out groggily.
Hey, what's going on?
I don't know.
Rainbow Dash interjected.
My head feels swimmy, no good, yucky.
Pinkie Pie added.
Don't move! Keep your hooves inside the ring until I can figure out how to get us out of here.
Very good, Twilight. I knew I could count on
Reminds me
you
a bit of Harry Potter when it
a
bit like Harry Potter.
Test.
Twilight's ears perked up at the 7th voice in the room.
It's like an invisible
her head
force
snapped
barrier
to the source
actually.
of the sound. She tried to focus her eyes on it. Twilight knew that voice.
Starlight? What's going on? And how did we get here?
Twilight asked cautiously.
Starlight? Where is Starlight?
Starlight Glimmer slowly stepped out from a dark corner and used her magic to ignite the torches resting on each wall.
She's
her
evil?
face was blank of any emotion.
A short time ago,
oh,
I
she
had
looks
a
evil.
thought. You see, my magic seems to be just as powerful as yours, which is quite impressive given the fact that I am still a unicorn. And that got me thinking, is the
What is
so-called
blood on that
magic of
arm
friendship
scroll?
really all it's cracked up to be?
She asked, positioning herself in the middle of the circle of friends.
What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Just let us out of here.
Rainbow Dash
Let her
insisted,
out,
ruffling
Starlight.
her wings and suppressing the urge to take off in flight.
All in good time, Rainbow, all in good time. Now, where was I?
Well,
Yes. Twilight, I am a grown mare with enough magic to con an entire village out of their cutie marks, alter a time travel spell, assist in the reconstruction of the Crystal Heart, brainwash you all without breaking a sweat, and take on the entire Changeling Hive. Does that sound like some pony who still needs lessons in the magic of friendship?
What are you saying?
Exactly.
I'm saying that I realize that I don't need your friendship, and I certainly
Yes,
don't
you
need
do.
the second-rate magic that I gave to all of you. Still, you six are impressive. You've saved Equestria enough times to warrant some attention. I merely want to test your magic against my own. I want to see what happens when the 6 spirits of harmony are forced to face the traits that they embody. Maybe then we will know what true power friendship has in Equestria.
You don't know what you're saying, Starlight. You've
Yeah.
seen firsthoof how powerful friendship can be. I
Yes.
thought you embraced it and understood where you went wrong.
I did try. I did everything you stupid little ponies said would bring my life
Not
fulfillment.
stupid.
But you can't erase a lifetime of emptiness and disappointment. Your petty friendship tests can't be assigned to me like school-filly homework. And even after I proved myself, I still wasn't given a throne in your castle or a real place in Ponyville. And it's all because of my past.
Hey, you're just too proud.
You can't trust me, can you? If you ponies had seen what I tried to do in the past, you all would have sent me to Tartarus. Had Twilight
We can't
not stopped
automatically
you.
become a princess
Friendship
or
is a lie.
Starlight screamed,
you are a
vengeance
lie.
seeping from her last word. She cleared her throat and replaced her tears with the mask of unfeeling, pretending the lapse of emotion hadn't happened.
That's not true. I have lots of friends and I never leave them feeling icky, lonely feelings.
No.
Pinkie interjected.
There's really no point in reasoning with me.
Let's become
The
Pinkamena.
test has already begun. You see, your heroism has always been based on your ability to embrace generosity, kindness, laughter, loyalty, honesty, and magic.
Yeah.
But what if you were given a situation where those exact traits could harm rather than help you?
You've gone mad.
Rarity
You
exclaimed.
are mad.
As Twilight kindly explained, the rings around each of you are quite deadly. This spell certainly was a difficult one to dig up, but the Princess of Friendship wouldn't dream of having an incomplete library at her disposal. So it was only a matter of time till I found what I needed. There's really no use in trying to use your own magic, Twilight.
Is there a way
Mary.
of getting them
I've
out of
already
the circle
disabled it
without
before you were brought here. The spell they used at the Equestria Games was very helpful with that. Now,
How do you know
there will
about
be
the-
6
how do you
tests
know about the
conducted,
Crashing Games if you
each
weren't
based
there?
on those 6 harmony traits. When the tests are over, you can go free and punish me however you see fit, proving that once and for all that your magic does surpass my own. If, however, you can't or won't perform, I doubt you will be leaving this room alive.
Starlight
What?
held her chin high, her eyes gazing down upon Twilight.
Alive? What do you mean alive?
What do you mean?
Fluttershy quivered.
What do you mean a lie?
Well, it's not a very good test of extreme situations.
Don't
if the
kill
stakes are
Fluttershy,
high enough.
please.
But
I want
let's
to
not
keep
waste any
Fluttershy.
more
I
time
want
with
to kiss her.
questions. I'm sure
I
you're
should
all
have
just
said
as
that, but
eager
anyway,
as I
just
am to begin.
don't kill her.
Starlight's
Rainbow.
horn lit up and dragged a strange device from another corner of the room into the center with her.
Ooh.
It appeared to be a large dissected metal egg, resting atop a tray of firewood. Inside the egg were coals and a long metal poker. Starlight's eyes remained locked on Twilight's, as her magic engulfed the wood into a fiery blaze.
What?
The girls all stared in wonder and terror, as the metal began to turn bright sun red. Twilight's eyes widened as she understood what the actual metal poker was.
What was it?
Starlight
What is it?
took the branding iron from out of the egg and gingerly twirled it around the mares who stood before her.
Is that the thing you should
This
change to
first
mark?
test is a test of kindness. Each of you will be given a choice. You can either be kind to your neighbor and elect to have the branding iron used on yourself, Or you can abandon your kindness and brand the pony to your right instead.
Brandon? Brandon what?
Applejack demanded, stamping her hoof angrily.
Why, your flank, of course. It's a bit of a callback to my life before you ponies ruined everything.
We
Not
didn't
to
ruin
mention it
it.
will satisfy my urge for vengeance.
We took it away from you
leaving
for the
a
greater
scorched and
good.
permanent equal sign scarred over your oh-so-special cutie marks.
What about
Starlight's
your
tone
cutie
slipped
mark?
from
Not really
calculating
special
to
then,
scorn
is it?
as she betrayed her emotions she was working to suppress.
I refuse to take your stupid test!
You got no
I won't
choice,
let you hurt
Rainbow.
me or my friends!
Ah, but that's the best part. You see, you only have 30 seconds to make your choice. And if a choice is not made, or you decide to get bold and try to escape, one of your friends will be killed at random by the circles containing
Oh
you now.
my gosh.
You didn't think
Really?
I would make this easy, did you?
Where have I heard that
Let's
story
start
before,
with the
actually?
elements of kindness herself. Fluttershy.
Oh, I know!
Narrowed her eyes on her prey, pointing the branding iron at her first test subject.
The test!
Placed the iron back in the egg to heat.
The
She
survey!
released her magical grip on Fluttershy. This left the
Did you
frightened
give this
Pegasus
idea
free
to-
to move about.
Fluttershy.
Sparrow, did you give this idea to
Either I
Lost?
brand
Really?
one side of your flank, or will you brand one of Pinkie's? You have 30 seconds.
Starlight grinned.
This is
as
like
her
the survey.
horn lit up a large
A bit like the
illuminated
survey. Ooh,
countdown
what was that?
hovered over Fluttershy's head. Fluttershy stood motionless in shocked silence, her whimpers getting caught in her throat. Though her friends shouted words of encouragement and advice, their voices were a muffled buzz of unintelligible noises in her head. Her thoughts focused on the betrayal of Starlight's trust in the little village she had helped to free. Had Starlight singled her out because of what she had done? She looked at the branding iron as tears began to cascade down her soft yellow cheeks.
Do something, Fluttershy.
Fluttershy, just do it. It's okay. I'll let you brand my cutie mark. I can't. You have to, Fluttershy. Time's running out. You have to do this. I understand. I forgive you.
Pinkie's voice quivered as tears filled her eyes. A smirk spread on Starlight Glimmer's face. She said nothing, but levitated a parchment in front of her to jot down the test effects on its subjects.
Your time is up, Fluttershy. What will it be?
Starlight said, pulling the branding iron from the hot coals.
Oh.
I'll brand Pinkie.
Fluttershy whispered in defeat, hanging her head. Starlight levitated the branding iron to Fluttershy, who shakily grasped the handle. Soon after, Pinkie's circle disappeared, and she stared into Fluttershy's frightened eyes.
Just get it over with, Fluttershy.
Pinkie stammered, unsure of what to expect, but fearing the worst, she shut her eyes.
Pinkie, I'm so sorry.
Now, Fluttershy, you have to press into the flank hard and hold it there for 5 seconds. If you fail to do so, I will brand you and Pinkie myself, and I will not be gentle.
Starlight cautioned, still jotting down notes. Fluttershy could only cry harder in response, and Pinkie's mane deflated. Their friends continued to scream in protest, but no pony could hinder the inevitable.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Fluttershy cried out in anguish as she pressed the branding iron into Pinkie's flank, almost
Oh my
matching the scream of
gosh.
pain from Pinkie in response.
Oh no.
Both ponies' eyes were shut as Starlight counted each agonizing second out loud. When the time was up, Fluttershy dropped the iron and fell to the ground in a puddle of her own tears. Pinkie's legs gave out and she too fell onto the unforgiving stone floor, gasping for air between each sob.
Very good, Fluttershy. Now let's give Pinkie a moment to gather her wits, and then she'll make the choice. Back to your circle, please.
How do you
Starlight
make a
said in a
choice?
mocking,
How do you make
pleasant
a
tone
choice when
as
you
she
got
placed the
a
iron back
equal
into the
sign?
metal egg? Fluttershy crawled to her position in the circle and curled into herself, facing away from her friends in shame. Starlight reignited the magic circle around her, then turned her attention to Pinkie Pie.
Now, Pinkie Pie, would you rather brand Rarity or have me brand your other flank?
There's an
Starlight
animation
asked,
error
as she
or picture
methodically
layer
placed the branding
in
iron
Applejack's
within Hoof's
eye.
reach. Pinkie could barely speak, but the timer appeared above her head regardless. She shakily pulled herself off the ground, grasped the branding iron, and shot Rarity a terrified glance.
Oh no, 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 no.
Pinkie? I choose Rarity.
Pinkie said, dropping her gaze.
Pinkie, please, no. Pinkie, I beg you.
I'm sorry, Rarity. I don't want to lose them both.
Pinkie stuttered, shooting a glance at her unbranded flank.
Interesting.
Starlight noted coldly, jotting down more notes. As Starlight released her magical hold on Rarity, she caught a glimpse of the panic in Rarity's eyes.
Oh dear.
Remember, Rarity, if you attempt to leave, one of your friends will pay with their life.
Reminds me-
Monster!
Rarity shouted moments before Pinkie pushed the iron into her fur.
Does it pop?
Rarity screamed
No, no, no.
and stumbled
No,
to
no,
the
no.
ground immediately. But Pinkie held the iron in place for all the required seconds.
Oh
When
dear,
it was
little
over,
blood on the floor.
she shuffled back to her spot and continued crying in silence. Rarity gingerly brushed the singed fur from her flank as she gasped for breath.
Your turn, Rarity.
Starlight noted, magicking the timer above the unicorn's head.
Rarity.
I choose Twilight.
Wow, that was fast.
See, it's
Starlight
going around in
commented
circles
in a gleeful
though.
manner, jotting down more notes.
I was going to let you anyway, Rarity.
Twilight
Hang on.
muttered, stunned at how quickly the
Just
decision was made.
realise something.
I didn't want you to have to be brave for my sake, Twilight.
Rarity stuttered, trying to clarify. By this point
It's
in the
going around in
friendship test,
circles.
the other ponies had
Okay.
stopped shouting their objections and useless comfort. Instead,
If I'm
there was
thinking
only
right,
a
what
dead
will
silence,
Applejack think?
broken
Say.
only by the sounds of pain. Twilight squeezed her eyes shut, and each of her friends turned their heads away when the branding iron made contact. Her screams of anguish brought a sick smile of satisfaction to Starlight Glimmer's face. Starlight hurried Rarity back into her place, eager to give the princess a turn. While Twilight was still doubled over in pain, Starlight presented her with the branding iron.
Twilight, how about you?
Applejack.
Twilight stood her ground.
No, she's going
tears
to
pouring down her
she's going to
cheeks.
choose
She looked
Rainbow.
Starlight directly
Then
in the
Rainbow will
eyes,
choose
not
Applejack.
wanting to give
Applejack
the
will
unicorn
probably
any
choose
satisfaction by
Starlight.
her
Then everyone
response.
dies. Every pony dies.
Brand me again.
Twilight replied with a cold, unforgiving glare.
What? No.
What?
Twilight, that's not fair. You don't have to lose both.
Brand me again, Starlight.
I figured you would make that choice. I am interested to know if this takes your special talent away, seeing how it's irreversible.
Hang on.
But that doesn't matter to you, does it?
A branding
You
doesn't
just
really
have to be
doesn't really
the
stop the
strong
matches,
and
does
the
it?
kind one. Set an example.
Just do it.
Starlight didn't hesitate. She used her magic to violently ram the branding iron into the princess's other flank.
Oh dear.
She used so much force that Twilight skid helplessly along the ground as she did so. Twilight's screams turned into gargled sobs as her friends stared in terror. Starlight took the
Oh
iron
my
away
gosh,
after
this-
5
this
seconds,
is dark.
as agreed, and contained Twilight to the magic circle again.
You're up, Rainbow Dash.
Starlight said smugly. Rainbow looked at Applejack with determination. The timer over her head was counting down, while the branding iron was reheated. Rainbow wasn't going to stand idly by and let this madness continue. A sporadic and desperate thought sparked into Rainbow's mind as she eyed Applejack. While their gaze was locked, Rainbow tried to convey a smile of reassurance despite the next words coming out of her mouth.
I choose to brand Applejack.
Rainbow stammered, pretending to have wrestled with the decision.
That's unexpected.
Starlight
Why?
observed, writing down more notes before pulling the iron from the fire.
It's kind of going around in circles, isn't
Rainbow's
it?
illuminated ring fizzled away, and without hesitation, she sprang from her place towards the pony that held them captive. She didn't need to jump very far to reach the unicorn, but was deflected away by an invisible shield Starlight used to protect herself. Suddenly, the spell containing Applejack began to glow. In a fraction of a second, an electrical shock zapped the earth pony with such a force that the room flashed with a blinding white light and a mighty
Oh my
cracking
gosh,
sound
look at
was
the
heard.
background.
Did you ponies really think that I wouldn't have thought ahead? What exactly do you take me for?
Starlight snapped bitterly, disappointed that her precious test had gone awry.
Applejack!
Rainbow screamed, falling over the charred body of her friend.
I wasn't thinking. I was just trying to make it stop. Applejack! Applejack, please! No! No!
You still have to brand her, Rainbow Dash. That was your decision.
Go to Tartarus!
Now, you don't want the same thing happening to another one of your friends, do you?
Rainbow angrily swiped the iron from Starlight and pushed it into Applejack's flank. Not a single sound was heard, except the sizzling of flesh. Starlight retrieved the iron
Okay,
and pointed in the direction
Applejack-
of Rainbow's original spot.
Applejack's dead.
Rainbow
okay.
didn't need to be told twice. She too curled in place, faced away from her friends.
My. It seems you lucked out, Fluttershy. With Applejack gone, there's no pony left to make a choice. And since you've already had your turn, I suppose I can let you keep your marks. Ironic, isn't it? The element of kindness was in fact not kind at all to poor Pinkie Pie, but she remains unmarred by a brand. I'd say that was a failed test for kindness.
Starlight observed, jotting down the final notes of the kindness portion of her test.
Oh dear.
Starlight lit her horn to douse the fire beneath the metal egg, and pushed it back into one of the dark corners of the room. Next, she magicked a simple dagger with an ornament handle, and a thin but hard metal rod and placed them at Rainbow Dash's hooves.
Oh dear,
Since
what's that?
Rainbow Dash here took it upon herself to break the rules and rob us of our dear Applejack, I believe it's only fitting that we resume our test with the subject of loyalty.
Fuck you.
This test is also about choices, though it will be made quite clear that they are far more deadly than the last. Rainbow Dash, how far does your loyalty go for your friends? Will you take the dagger and stab Princess Twilight to the hilt, or allow me to give you 3 swift lashes with this metal rod?
Rainbow remained silent as the timer above her head counted down.
5 seconds, Rainbow Dash. It's not very fitting to allow another friend to die just because you refuse to end.
Rainbow screamed, startling Starlight at the intensity of her response. Starlight removed the magic encasing Rainbow Dash, and she pounced, though not at her, but instead to the remains of Applejack. Rainbow covered Applejack's body with her own, as if protecting her friend. Starlight lifted the metal rod with her magic and brought it down hard on Rainbow's back. Rainbow wailed into Applejack the instant the rod struck. It came down 2 more times, leaving the Pegasus with great bruises and lesions on her
dear.
back that nearly missed her wings.
Now, Twilight, will
The
you...
rod.
Twilight said, almost emotionless.
You didn't let me finish.
Starlight said with a smirk.
What?
Twilight, will you stab Rarity to the hilt? Or give Rainbow Dash 3 more lashes?
Screamed Pinkie Pie in horror.
It's all a part of loyalty, Pinkie Pie. Where does Twilight's loyalty lie?
Starlight wondered out loud, locking her gaze on the horrified princess.
To my friends.
Technically,
all of my friends. I'd rather you
Twilight
take my
can't
life
technically
than
die.
subject me to this sick decision.
But that's just not how the test is performed. If
No?
you refuse to choose, I suppose there's a 1 in 5 chance that it'd be you that was killed. But I don't think the Princess of Friendship is willing to play the odds.
You can't.
Starlight
I thought
retorted.
they can't die.
Twilight looked at Rainbow Dash, still sprawled over Applejack, then Rarity.
A knife can do serious damage no matter where it is stabbed. It doesn't give me any real choice at all.
Twilight, no! You can't!
Starlight presented the rod to Twilight and stood back to give her ample space.
Just do it, Twi.
Hit her hard, Twilight, or it won't count.
Starlight said, keeping a close eye on the princess's movements. Twilight squeezed her eyes shut and brought the rod down hard on Rainbow's back. A sickening snap was heard, and the Pegasus screamed in agony. When Twilight opened her eyes to see what had happened, she noticed Rainbow's right wing now laid helpless down on her side, the bone clearly fractured.
Oh dear.
Rainbow, I'm so sorry!
Twilight screamed, realizing her mistake. Rainbow just continued to sob.
2 more, Twilight.
Starlight reminded her. Twilight kept her eyes open for the remaining lashes, avoiding her wings as best as she could. Starlight nodded in approval, and the princess returned to her place. All eyes focused in on Rarity, as it was her turn to make a choice.
Stab me, Rarity, please!
Pinkie Pie.
Pinkie demanded,
That's my
watching
fault.
Rainbow struggle to breathe from the pain.
Now, Pinkie, this is Rarity's choice, not yours. Your time will come.
If I were to choose the blade, where would I have to stab Pinkie Pie?
Anywhere you like, though it must be to the hilt.
Starlight calmly said,
Rarity, don't! There are too many places that could kill her!
Oh, come now, Twilight. The blade isn't that long. There are plenty of places that would keep Pinkie Pie alive.
Starlight said, rolling her eyes.
Rainbow?
I know, Rarity. You have to do it.
No, Rarity, she can't take much more!
Rarity disregarded Pinkie's outcries and levitated the rod as her choice. She would have kept her eyes closed, but she learned from Twilight's mistake not to do so. The rod came down hard 3 more times, and the Pegasus moaned softly with each new strike.
Now it is your turn, Pinkie Pie.
Starlight said, placing the 2
Who is
objects
Pinkie Pie
before
gonna
her.
choose?
Pinkie
Fluttershy?
looked up at Fluttershy, who was shaking her head and pleading to be spared.
She'll die, Fluttershy! I have to do this!
Pinkie cried. She grasped the blade and took a shaky step in Fluttershy's direction. Fluttershy pleaded for Pinkie to reconsider, but Pinkie tuned out her cries, thinking only of the pain she would be sparing Rainbow Dash. The blade made contact with Fluttershy's back left leg, and the Pegasus wailed in response. Pinkie had been aiming for something closer to her hoof, but the combination of her blurred, teary-eyed vision and Fluttershy's reflective movements had landed the dagger closer to her flank. Pinkie noted the excess blood already pouring from the Pegasus's leg, but she knew the job wasn't complete. To the hilt, Starlight had said, and Pinkie didn't want to be reminded. Fluttershy saw Pinkie approaching her again and tried to make an escape.
Don't kill her, please!
Pinkie pounced, pinning the Pegasus to the ground and forcing the blade deeper into her friend's flesh until Starlight was satisfied.
Ow!
You're lucky that Pinkie Pie had the sense to stop you, Fluttershy. Your impulses could have cost some pony her life.
Starlight pointed out.
Am I going to die?
Fluttershy panicked,
Don't die!
covering the wound with her hooves as Starlight pried the dagger free. Once the blade was free, a spurt of blood followed. But the flow eased as Fluttershy applied pressure.
Hard to say, really. Only time will tell. Though I'm sure Rainbow Dash was grateful for the decision.
Starlight said,
Why?
guiding a silent Pinkie Pie back to her place. Pinkie didn't care to look up from the ground to see the damage she had done.
Now yours is an interesting choice, Fluttershy. You can whip Rainbow 3 more times, or stab any player of your choosing.
Fluttershy whimpered in pain and reached out for the metal rod.
Fluttershy, wait!
Stab me! Stab me! I can't. Oh, come on!
Fluttershy said, wobbling on 3 hooves with the metal rod held by her wing.
I'm sorry, Rainbow. I just can't stab some pony. I can't.
She's doing it. She's gonna kill herself.
Rainbow made a soft gurgle sound in response. Fluttershy grunted and brought the rod down lightly on her friend.
That doesn't count.
Please. Please don't make me do this.
You know the penalty, Fluttershy.
Starlight reminded. Fluttershy cried out in anger and came down hard with the metal rod. She swung to hit again, but missed and hit Applejack instead. Her vision blurred with tears as she brought it down for 1/4 time, making contact with Rainbow's broken wing. Every pony expected screams of anguish from Rainbow in response, but she remained silent.
Rainbow? Rainbow? Rainbow! Say something, please!
One more, Fluttershy. Quickly now.
Fluttershy brought the rod down for a 5th time.
No.
And once again, Rainbow
Don't
made
kill
no response.
Rainbow as well, please.
Pinkie screamed Rainbow's name repeatedly, and Fluttershy dropped the rod in shock. Starlight leaned down to examine
She's
Rainbow,
fading away.
noting the severity of the laceration.
She's fading away. She's fading away. She's Rainbow's fucking dead.
Internal bleeding
Rainbow's
and
fucking
possibly a
dead.
damaged organ. I'm afraid our dear Rainbow Dash has left us, proving that loyalty to your friends is indeed subjective. Not all friends are created equal for you ponies, are they?
Starlight said, feigning sorrow at
Well,
Rainbow's
fucking
death. Starlight jotted down
It's all
her
fucking
notes
dead.
on
What are you
her
gonna be
parchment, while the remaining 4 ponies mourned in shocked silence. When she finished, she ignited her horn, and a burst of
Starlight
magic
should
filled
kill
the
herself.
room. When it struck each pony in the chest, they were left momentarily dazed, before collapsing unconscious on the ground.
Sorry I had to spring this one on you all, but it was so much quieter and easier to
What?
place you here
That-
myself
that is
while
spooky.
you were unconscious.
Starlight's voice echoed as the 4 remaining friends slowly regained consciousness. They were no longer standing in the circle, but were instead held up by their hooves against the wall, side
What?
by side. Metal straps held them in place, and the strange chamber that held them appeared to be made of reinforced glass. It didn't take long to
Reinforced
notice
glass?
that it was built for 6 pony captives, but there were obviously 2 missing participants.
Yeah.
Where's Rainbow? And Applejack?
Pinkie demanded, craning her neck to see if their bodies were still within sight.
I would refrain from opening your mouth, Pinkie Pie. This is the test of laughter, after all. You know, they say that laughter is the best medicine and it can cure any ailment. Well, I'm going to test that with you 4 ponies. In a few moments, your enclosure will
There's
be
no
filled
laughter
with a
in
gaseous
death,
substance of
or
my
after
own
death.
creation. It's a mixture of toxicity and laughing powder that, when inhaled, will burn through the back of your throats, causing irreversible internal damage. It's mostly attracted to moist places, so breathing through your nose will be painful, but probably not deadly. If you so much as open your mouth to take a breath, I imagine your death will be imminent. You have to suppress your laughter, or your screams, to live through this one. Clever, isn't it?
Starlight didn't give her test subjects time to answer
Clever?
the rhetorical question.
It's
Pulled the
disturbing,
lever attached to the side of the
Starlight.
chamber,
Disturbing.
and her gas began to fill the enclosure. Each pony squeezed their eyes and mouth shut, making only short deliberate breaths through their nose. The gas burned as Starlight predicted, though there had been a presence of a laughing powder tickling their nostrils
Oh dear.
and daring them to respond. Starlight observed each pony's behavior and jotted them down individually in her notes. Fluttershy's entire body was shaking, and she made occasional whimper noises. Starlight assumed that her greatest challenge was not to cry, as the moisture would attract the poisonous gas to her eyes. Rarity's face was turning a sickly shade of red, then purple, then blue. She was attempting to hold her breath for the duration of this test, rather than inhale the gas by
It's
any
not a
means.
test.
Twilight seemed the most calm under the circumstances.
It
She
doesn't
had
sound
a
like a
thoughtful
test.
yet determined look on her face, as though she was simply meditating.
There's no way
Pinkie
quit murder.
Pie, however, visibly struggled. Her body twitched and spasmed as she labored to regulate her breathing. Mentally, Pinkie was screaming at herself to hold on.
Hold on.
She fought more against the laughing powder than the burning in her throat. Pinkie loved to laugh, and she loved to make her friends laugh too. No pony could laugh as long or as hard as Pinkie
What do you mean
Pie,
Starlight laughs?
with the exception of Rainbow Dash. It seemed like an eternity ago that the pair of them had gone on a pranking spree together.
Oh,
and
yeah?
the deafening thought that it would never happen again tugged at Pinkie's heartstrings.
Make her
Thinking of
cry.
Rainbow in this
Will that
moment
work?
proved to be her downfall. When the memories and the anguish proved too much, Pinkie cried out in a mixture of scream and laughter. Knowing that she had failed, she embraced her
Oh,
laughter,
Fluttershy. Oh, Pinkie Pie,
sucking in more of
don't.
the
Oh,
poison
no.
with each outburst. She clung to the hope of seeing Rainbow Dash again, until the poison had done its
Coughing.
work, leaving the party pony limp and lifeless in her restraints. Starlight shook her head and glanced at
Pinkie
the
Pie's
timer
dead
on the
now.
wall that her subjects had missed. With only seconds remaining in the laughter test, Rarity finally had to suck in a breath through her nostrils. Moments before she cried out in shock and pain, the bell chimed and the gas receded.
My, that was lucky, wasn't it, Rarity?
Pinkie! No! Pinkie!
No, Pinkie!
Rarity screamed at the sight of her newly departed friend. Her mangled face was a clear depiction of the pain and sorrow she felt at death. Pinkie's eyes were bulbous and bloodshot, with a glassy glaze over the pupils that turned them a translucent gray. Her mouth hung open, showing a great number of boils and blisters lining her cheeks, throat, and tongue. The tears that she had wept in her final moments caused a trail of blisters to form the path that they took down her cheeks. Starlight calmly pressed the button on the side of the chamber that released Pinkie's body from the straps that held it. She tumbled to the ground for a moment before her body was magicked away in preparation for the next test.
Since I have you all here, it's only fitting that we resume with the generosity test.
Oh dear, it's only
Starlight
three ponies left
she
now.
pushed 3 more buttons
Or
on
4
the side of
ponies
the
if you count
chamber,
Starlight.
releasing the remaining test subjects from their clasps that held them. Thick, transparent walls jutted from the ground between each pony, encasing them in their own individual compartments within the gas chamber. Attached to the walls on the pony's right were a series of 6 red buttons, 3 of which were lit while the others remained dark.
Generosity. Now that was a challenge. How could I possibly think of a situation where one would need to be selfish to pass? It certainly took the longest to create, though I am quite pleased with the results. As I'm sure you have guessed, these buttons in front of you correspond to the different sections of my clever creation.
Your clever
Rainbow
creation?
Dash, Applejack, and Pinkie Pie are unable to take this portion of my test. Their buttons have been disabled. Rarity, Twilight, Fluttershy, your chambers correlate to the remaining buttons, respectively. If you would kindly direct your attention to the vents above you, you will see that they are in fact not entirely open, nor entirely closed. In a few moments, water will begin to pour into your chamber as quickly as those vents will allow. When you press the buttons in front of you, the vent corresponding to the chamber you have chosen will open further.
Oh
Now,
no.
These chambers are connected
This
to
is like a
one
random
large water
chamber.
vent. And if you
Choose the one
abstain
chamber,
from pressing any buttons, the
you can
water will pour into your chambers in equal amounts, leaving only a few seconds of breathable air at best. You will need to survive 5 minutes in these chambers after the water has stopped pouring in order to pass.
You've forgotten that
So will you be generous
Rarity
with your
can do
precious
magic?
oxygen, or selfish in the hopes that you will survive?
Starlight smirked and pulled the second lever from the side of the chamber, which released the water from the attached tank.
Twilight!
Fluttershy screamed in terror, pushing her body against the wall closest to her friend.
What do we do?
We have to choose Fluttershy. We don't have any other options.
No, we don't.
Twilight said, the hopelessness in her tone sending a shiver down Fluttershy's spine.
But if we press a button, that means some of us will die.
Rarity
Yeah.
cried, avoiding the downpour with her mane and tail as long as possible.
No, just one. If you and Fluttershy press the button for my chamber, you'll both have enough oxygen to live.
How do you know that? It's not like we're getting exact measurements in here.
It's a pattern, Rarity. Don't you see? Every test was designed to eliminate a player. If more than one player is eliminated, it ruins her precious test.
Twilight bitterly realized.
She's trying to find logic now.
That means only one of us can pass the friendship test?
Yes, Fluttershy. I think it does.
Each pony was now lifted from her hooves, the water having filled each of the chambers half full.
Twilight is doing
Twilight
loyalty
pointed to
there.
the buttons on the wall with a stern
But
look
does that
on
mean
her face.
she'll be...
Do it! Do it or we'll all die anyway!
But you're the princess of friendship. Equestria needs you.
What's the princess of friendship without her friends? I've already failed Rainbow, AJ, and Pinkie.
It's not
I
your
couldn't
fault.
Be a princess of something I failed.
It's not your
You've
fault,
got your animals that
Twilight.
Need you, Fluttershy. And
It's
Rarity,
Starlight's fault.
You've got to be there for Sweetie Belle and the other Crusaders now. You have to go on, both of you. So push the button.
Rarity didn't respond. She reached her hoof in the water for the button to Twilight's chamber and pressed it. The vent lowered in response. Seeing Rarity make the decision, Fluttershy too pressed her hoof on the corresponding button and watched sadly as the vent lowered completely in Twilight's chamber.
I love you both. And please tell the princesses I'm sorry. Tell Shining Armor and Cadence that I love them. And tell Flurry Heart
Twilight started, but was cut off when she was submerged in the rushing water. Fluttershy
dear.
and Rarity struggled to keep their mouths above the water.
Is
when
Twilight
the
gonna
last
die now?
drops trickled from the vents. From the corner of their eyes, they watched helpless as Twilight thrashed around aimlessly searching for any remaining oxygen. She reached out her hooves towards each of her friends, pressing them against the wall. Twilight's eyes fluttered shut.
She's dying.
The last air bubbles trickled slowly from her lips.
She's
as the
dead.
water began to fill her lungs. Within moments, the princess's body bobbed aimlessly in her watery grave. Starlight continued to take notes of the event unfolding before her, a smirk slowly rising from behind the parchment, while Rarity and Fluttershy still fought to stay alive. When 5 minutes had passed, there was a loud buzzing sound, and the water rapidly drained from a new series of holes that appeared on the floor. Rarity and Fluttershy chose to look away from Twilight, neither of them wanting the last memory of their friend to be the princess's lifeless body. Starlight ushered the two of them out of their chamber, before pulling a switch and turning off the lights within.
Oh dear.
Well, I can't say that I'm surprised that Twilight's insightfulness would discover the nature of my tests, nor that she would sacrifice herself for her friends at the earliest opportunity.
It was her
She always
choice.
wanted to play the martyr. Now she has. I certainly hope it was worth it.
Yes.
Starlight said, leading the final two
Please,
ponies to the next
Don't
test that
kill
awaited
Fluttershy.
them.
Let
Rarity and
Fluttershy live.
were surprised to learn that the room where this nightmare began was seconds away from the massive chamber where they were held. When they looked back in the direction they had come, the stone wall blocked their view, making the room appear smaller again.
Oh,
Really?
I've learned all sorts of interesting spells and illusions to prepare for this test. This room
Do you
isn't
have
as small
any,
as you might think.
Starlight said with a chuckle when she saw the confusion
emotion?
on her remaining subject's
Starlight?
face.
So, was she right? Are you waiting until one of us is
fucker.
the winner before you end this madness?
This is a test. One does not win. One can only pass or fail. And if it weren't for Rainbow Dash's rash decision-making, we might have been able to take all 6 tests. But I suppose you can't plan and predict everything when making a test such as this one. The final test will have to end on honesty.
Oh dear.
Starlight ushered the remaining ponies to the center of the room
How?
and indicated for them to sit facing each other. Once each pony was seated, Starlight ignited her horn, and the same magic rings that had held them once made their reappearance. In conjunction, 4 magic balls of light that were shaped like apples appear. 2 in front of Rarity and 2 in front of Fluttershy.
Forgive my satirical humor, but I thought it was only appropriate for the honesty test to have a little bit of an apple flair. It really is a
Bad
shame
joke.
Applejack had to die first. I thought she'd make it this far. Even so, the test must go on. Now, there is a single word etched into the magic apples in front of you. Chance
Oh, yeah?
and choice. If you both
like,
select chance,
Dungeons and Discord,
then your
isn't it? Or
livelihood
Dungeons
will be
and
left
Dragons.
up to fate. One of you will die at random. If one of you selects choice and the other chance, the pony who picked chance will be killed and the other spared. If, however, you both select choice, you will both die. You must touch one of these 2 apples before the timer runs out, or you will both be eliminated in the same manner as Applejack.
What are we choosing exactly?
Which of the cider mugs you will drink? I bought these apple ciders from the Apple family in anticipation of this very event. Prior to this test, one has been poisoned. The test is concluded when both ponies drink, and one of you fails. You have 2 minutes to talk and convince each other which choice you'll make. But will you be truthful, or lie to save your own skin?
There was a silence that hung in the air.
Where is he lying?
Fluttershy and Rarity stared into each
I
other's
don't know.
eyes,
How would you tell though?
uncertainty lingering.
It's like a poker game now.
Begin.
A timer appeared above the final pair of ponies. For the first few seconds, neither pony said a word, until at last the Pegasus broke the silence.
You should go on, Rarity. You can still grow and prosper without me.
No.
Your boutiques.
Fluttershy, no.
plans,
No, no, no.
It would be a lifetime of work
No.
lost.
No!
Not to mention you mean more to Sweetiebelle than I do to my animals.
Fluttershy, no! I would never compare my work to your own. Your care for these animals has saved lives, and no dress could ever amount to that. I could never continue my work after living through this ordeal. Any sort of happiness I achieve will be forever tainted on the idea that I had to watch you and my dearest friends die just to spare me. I won't let you sacrifice yourself for me.
Depends what?
Should we?
Yes, I think it's the only way we can live with ourselves. We must pick the chance and promise each other we will do everything we can to go on, if we are in fact the one who is spared.
Rarity said as confidently as she was able. Fluttershy nodded and reached out her hoof while Rarity did the same. They made their selections, and all 4 floating apples disappeared, leaving a mug of cider in their place.
Oh dear.
Rarity and Fluttershy stared at the liquor in fear, picking it up with shaky hooves.
You have to drink it now,
30
you.
seconds.
Starlight warned, writing more notes on the parchment.
Together?
Together.
The pair
Together.
of ponies brought the cider to their lips and reluctantly took a gulp. Neither of them could taste a poisonous difference, so each became confident in theirs that the cider was safe. Once each pony neared the end of their drink,
Yeah, but you could have
Starlight
something that
interrupted.
doesn't have any taste.
Oh, did I forget to mention that the decision you made will be etched onto the bottom of the cider mug for the other pony to see? That must have slipped my mind.
Both ponies almost dropped their mugs simultaneously when they learned this last bit of information. They looked at their respective mugs to see what the other pony had chosen,
Oh dear.
and the color drained from their faces.
Fluttershy, I'm so sorry.
Starlight smiled as the fast-acting poison she had created took effect, causing Fluttershy to cough as if she were choking.
No!
So sorry.
No! No!
Rarity screamed, wanting to reach.
Warning. The following reading...
Oh!
Prior to this test,
Fluttershy stared at the liquor in fear, picking at this last bit of information.
and welcome to return to your home and pony.
Screamed, wanting to reach out to her friend, respective mugs, to see what the other pony had chosen, and the color drained from their faces.
Fluttershy, I'm so sorry.
Starlight smiled as the fast-acting poison she had created took effect, causing Fluttershy to cough as if she were choking.
No!
I'm so sorry.
Rarity screamed,
No!
wanting to reach out to her friend. Fluttershy couldn't respond. She was desperately fighting whatever strange poison was taking its hold on her. All Rarity could do was watch in horror as the life of her friend slipped away. Starlight levitated the mugs with her magic to inspect them. Rarity's mug had Chance engraved on the bottom, while Fluttershy's had Choice. Rarity's betrayal was clearly stamped on her face as she fought back a fit of nausea.
Congratulations, Rarity. You failed. Thanks to you, I have proven that magic is only as powerful as the ponies who wield it. And as promised, you are more than welcome to return to your home in Ponyville and seek whatever punishment for me that you deem appropriate. Though, given the fact that my magic has picked your friends off so easily, I caution you to choose your vengeance carefully. If I were you, I wouldn't want to anger some pony that powerful. Oh, but there is one last thing you need to do before you're allowed to go. It will give me such satisfaction to hear the conclusion of this test read aloud by the only living participant. It's only one little phrase, and then you're free.
Starlight took the parchment that she had documented on for the duration of the test over to Rarity, with only the last line visible. The unicorn read it to herself, then looked up at Starlight in hatred.
Here, I'll get you started. After thorough investigation and testing, it can be concluded that...
Starlight gave Rarity a frightening smirk, waiting for the unicorn to finish the sentence. She hung her head in defeat and uttered the final words.
What's the words?
Friendship isn't magic.
What? What happened to Starlight? Starlight? Oh, sorry. You not to calm how Fluttershy. What do you harm Fluttershy, don't you? You don't like Fluttershy. Oh, maybe oh. You have to choose Rarity. Isn't like the most people don't like Rarity, but she had to live. But what has happened? What I thought there was a choice that Rarity was going to able to punish Starlight. And what happened after? And I've got this bloody band in Friendship is Magic. Ugh! I get pissed off for burping. Okay, now for my review. the acting and the visuals and the sound effects, excellent. I actually like that. I like that. I love the acting. I love the pictures, quality pictures. But there was a bit of a a laying error on Applejack's eye. On her eye was eyelashes, and you can actually see her like her mane underneath the eyelash. There's a layering error there. One thing I would like to see in this story was actually seeing the countdown timer. Seeing the countdown timer. Can't we make it to me decision? I would like to see some actual countdown of the actual countdown. I thought Fluttershy was actually going to live in the end, but yeah, I would like to see the actual countdown, and I liked it was a good idea to actually fade out into the black and white until who actually died. Who died. But I would like to see some animation within the ponies, if you know what I mean. If the kit, if when we test kit Applejack, you actually saw a little animation, just a little bit of animation, PNG pictures kicking. But that was disturbing but brilliant, if that makes any little sense. It was disturbing. It's despicable. You kill fucking Fluttershy. But it was a good story. Does that make any little sense at all? You have to choose Rarity of all ponies to live. And I got a bloody smiling rainbow dashing looking at me. Is that a head? She's dead, but that's why she got her head as a souvenir. Right. Other than that, it was a good story. It was great for the season, great for Halloween. I love you, Lost, for some reason. I love you. You're excellent at doing these stories. You got a gift to make me angry. That's a remarkable gift. And I'm going to end this reaction now. Hopefully I will see you in another reaction. And have a lovely day. Good night.